So even the Russian Orthodox Church has honored Charlie Kirk. There was a quote, there was a small conversation where they referenced the time when Kirk was defending one of the Orthodox patriarchs, and he was defending that, and it was noted by some members of the Russian Orthodox Church. Also in that conversation was Alexander Dugin. Alexander Dugin's a Russian philosopher, a political philosopher. I don't personally agree with everything he says, but it's still very interesting. His daughter was killed in a terrorist attack by the Ukrainian Nazi faction. And but anyway, he said that he would, if it wasn't for sanctions, he would come to the United States and attend Kirk's funeral. But of course, he can't do that because of the sanctions that, Russians and Americans can't freely travel between these two countries. But it goes to show that this guy didn't just have a following here in the United States, he had a following worldwide. Even in Russia, despite what's going on between the US and Russia, despite the awful relations and the proxy war that the United States is launching against Russia and Ukraine, essentially. I've always said that, regardless of Trump started the war or not, obviously Trump did not start the war, but he's president and he has to take responsibility for that. So I'd like to see the end of that war. Hundreds of thousands of people are dying needlessly there. We won't really know exactly what the death toll is, although we have a pretty good idea if you listen to non-mainstream sources. But, these are still people's lives, and these are people that had potential that unfortunately don't because of what's going on there. Just for some geopolitical competition that doesn't serve anybody except for a handful of elites. But anyway, Kirk certainly did have a very wide following. I don't necessarily agree with everything that Charlie Kirk says. I mean, there's some things I don't agree with. But unfortunately, now that he's not alive, I won't be able to debate him. So, and even if you didn't agree with him, for all you know, that over time, maybe he would have changed his ideas. We don't know that. It's very chilling, but we've talked about this ad nauseum, and I need to start talking about other news sources. But anyway, I wanted to point out that the Russian Orthodox Church also said some good words about him, and I wanted to point that out, and I'll put a link in the description below.